My name is Dr. Gerald Deboy. I'm fellow with Infineon Technologies. I'm about 30 years in the industry with a background both in power electronic devices and systems. It's my pleasure today to talk about silicon carbide and gallium nitride for an event for EBV. For Infineon, it's very important to push all three technologies. We believe that there is a space for silicon carbide and gallium nitride. Let me give you an example. In some of our applications like server power supplies for artificial intelligence, we are seeing combinations of silicon carbide and gallium nitride within one power supply. Therefore, our strategy is to push the best fitting technology into each application sector without having a clear preference for one technology. Infineon can be your trusted advisor in giving you guidance how to unleash the full potential of each technologies depending on your application scope. In general, we are seeing silicon primarily in the very low voltage space, for example in high performance computing applications, converting like 6 volt into the processor voltage of 0.4 to 0.7 volt as a major application for silicon. We are seeing gallium nitride in the applications like fast charging, like consumer electronics, motor drive, and we're seeing silicon carbide primarily in the automotive sector, for example in the main inverter of the electric car, but also in renewables and also in the upcoming high voltage DC distribution for AI data centers. Today we are seeing a hype around artificial intelligence. Following the announcements of the big hyperscalers, we're seeing huge investments into training the next big model like ChatGPT, like training ever bigger models with trillions of parameters in order to advance the state of the art. The training of these very large models consumes a very high amount of power. We're talking about an additional 60 to 100 gigawatt additional installed IT capacity until the end of the decade. And this is an application which is driving lots of innovation, which is driving the fast adoption of silicon carbide when it comes to the generation of power, when it comes to distribution of 800 volt. And we're seeing gallium nitride complementary in these applications when it comes to converting 800 volt down to 48 volt or lower voltages. So when we talk about AI data centers, and let's go 5 years into the future. 5 years into the future, we will convert the voltage from the middle volt grid, like 13 or 25 kilovolt AC, directly into 800 volt. These very large installations, we talk about megawatt converters, so-called solid state transformers, a very interesting application for power electronics. We are, as Infineon, developing high voltage silicon carbide MOSFETs being packaged in modules. That's a prime application for high voltage silicon carbide MOSFETs, which is evolving and developing right now. Then later on, converting from 800 volt down to 48 volt, that would be a classic application for gallium nitride. These are converters sitting on the motherboard directly, where real estate is very precious. Therefore, highest density, very high switching frequencies, and these converters need to have both very good efficiency and very high power density. Classic application, classic value proposition for gallium nitride. Then from 48 volt down to 6 volt, and then from 6 volt down to core. That can be an application where gallium nitride or silicon is used. The lower the voltage is getting, the more competitive silicon is getting. And especially for the last stage, we are seeing primarily silicon as one of the key applications. The next big thing after AI, likely robotics. For example, humanoid robotics. That's another field where we are seeing very high invests. And AI is to some extent laying the foundation for humanoid robotics. As also for robotics, you need to train them, you need to collect data, you need to develop algorithms. All of this is made possible by the very fast advancements of artificial intelligence. Overall, Infineon is pushing all three technologies, silicon carbide and gallium nitride. We believe there is a space and a big market room for all of the three technologies, and Infineon is your partner in all of the future endeavors. Thank you very much.